So this will just be a quick reminder on how to use integration or how to integrate your evidence into your analysis when writing a body paragraph. So once again, we'll begin with our topic sentence. And so in this particular case, we're talking about imperialism. And let's say I'm going to write my paragraph on the economic motivations behind colonizing other places around the world. And so I might just, I need to introduce that, right? So one of the main reasons behind European imperialism was economic gain, right? So I've introduced it, there's my topic sentence. And now I'm ready to start introducing some of my evidence and analysis. So I look through the documents. Let's say I've chosen this one, document 4, as a piece of evidence. And what I want to do is a couple of different things here. First, I want to make sure I understand who's saying this, who they are, so I can use that information to introduce and lead into my analysis and evidence. And then I'm going to go through this and I'm going to pick out the different pieces of it that I think really support what I'm talking about, how these colonies are good for somebody's economy. And so as I look through this and I read through, these are natural markets for our trade. If we cut those colonies adrift, then we're going to have all kinds of problems back at home because they are markets for us. And one of the possible consequences would be that our population would be starved. So I've kind of gone through and looked at what I think are the more powerful pieces that I think I could probably weave into, my analysis and make sure I get those in there. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to actually move it into my analysis and begin to write that. So here's where I do this, right? I've got some analysis. So these colonies are the natural markets for trade, and that's where I'm taking it from here. According to Joseph Chamberlain, who was a British industrialist, right? I pulled that from the source during the scramble for Africa. So I'm relating it back, getting that going. And notice I don't have to have just one sentence. I could have more than that if I need. He was worried that if Britain were to cut adrift these colonies, once again pulling that many of the population would be starved from the resulting blow to the economy, and then I parenthetically cite. So I've taken those pieces and I've shown, hopefully through my analysis and what I'm talking about, that colonies serve this purpose as markets. This is the guy who's saying it. I've introduced that person in some way, so I'm giving credit to them in that without these colonies, there would be a blow to the economy. People would starve, and we shouldn't cut these things adrift. So that's where I've taken it. Now, at some point after I got all of my documents in here, and that's just one document, but I got my other documents in here, then I also need to bring in some outside knowledge, and that's where we went through the gallery walk, and you took your notes and you got information down about different imperial nations and the different colonies that they went through and their motivations behind it. So you should be able to find in your notes something that says about the economic impact, and you'd want to include that here. So how are you going to include that? You're not going to be quoting anything, so you just need to paraphrase, but bring in more of those facts and details that support that these people were colonizing for economic gain. And so here's what I might type in. It is also evident from nations like Portugal and Spain, and let's say I've seen a presentation on that, who conquered the natives of the New World and took their gold, right, taking their resources, which is an economic thing. The Spanish enslaved them to work the fields and the mines, right, and you get labor and cheap sources of labor that would produce the valuable resources like chocolate, cotton, sugar, and gold. I'm relating specifically to some of those resources that they pulled from the New World. That could be used and sold back in Europe, right? So all I'm talking about are these things that can help make me money. Many Europeans who invested in these colonies became very wealthy and powerful as a result of those investments. So everything I'm talking about here is economic, but I'm providing some concrete detail rather than just some general ideas, right? Chocolate, cotton, sugar, and gold. The valuable source of labor, people working in the fields and mines, selling the stuff back to Europe, all those kinds of things. Okay, and then I've got 3 or 4 different documents in here. I've got my outside information. Then I would conclude and transition at the end, and I'm done with my paragraph.